Howdy everybody. Today's video we will be focusing on solving for y. We will go over some properties of operations, the order of operations, and finally how to solve for y. There are three properties that we will focus on. They are the associative, commutative, and distributive laws or properties. The associative property states that any integers you multiply together, it doesn't really matter how they're grouped together. It will all equal the same thing. So if we first have x times y, so multiply those together first, and then multiply those by z, it will still equal the same thing as if we multiplied y times z first, and then multiplied x. An example of that, we could have, let's say we have 1 times 2 times 3. So that equals 2 times 3, that equals 6. Then also, say we have 1 times 2 times 3. So we'll first multiply 2 times 3, and that's going to equal 6. 1 times 6 is just 6. This also works with addition. So let's say we have 1 plus 2 plus 3. That's going to equal 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 3 equals 6. And then switching that around, 1 plus 2 plus 3 equals 1 plus 5 equals 6. So it works both ways, works multiplication and addition. Next is the commutative law, or property, sorry. The commutative law states that we can swap our numbers and still come to the same answer. So x times y will equal y times x. We can say we have 3 times 2, and that will equal 6. But also 2 times 3, that also equals 6. Again, this also works with addition. So 2 plus 3 equals 5, while 3 plus 2 equals 5. Lastly, we have the distributive law, or distributive property. This property basically states that x times y plus z equals x times y plus x times z. The x is pretty much just distributed to the y and the z inside the parentheses. So let's use a block method. Let's say we do 3 times 2 plus 4. And that will equal, let's distribute that, 3 times 2 plus 3 times 4. Okay, so block, let's say we have 3 2 plus 4s, and so 2 plus 4 is 6. So 3 blocks of 6. So there's our 2, 1, 2, and then 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's have 3 of those. And then that will equal a 3 by 2 plus a 3 by 4. So pretty much we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 blocks. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 blocks on both sides. So it equals the same thing. Let's do this algebraically. So let's say we have 3 times 2 plus 4. Let's add our 2 plus 4 first. So that's going to equal 3 times 6. That equals 18. Now let's distribute our 3. So we'll have 3 times 2 plus 3 times 4. That equals 6 plus 12. And again, that equals 18. So they equal the same thing. But wait, there is more. The associative law does not, and I repeat, does not work with subtraction. The commutative law does not work with division, and the distributive law also does not work with division. These only work with addition and multiplication. Now, on to the order of operations. PEMDAS. So P-E-M-D-A-S. What does this stand for? It stands for Please Excuse My Dear Aunt Sally, and has nothing to do with math. And obviously I'm kidding, this is a math video. So it's just short for parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. These are the order of operations. So first, we must always do whatever is inside our parentheses. Okay, we always do whatever inside here first. And then we focus on our exponents. So we focus on our exponents. Next, we focus on our multiplication and division. So if multiplication comes first, in our sequence in our equation, we multiply. And then if divide comes second, we divide. Then, but if division comes first, you divide first. And then you multiply. So don't get confused by multiplication and division. This group here, you can do division first and then multiplication. Same thing with addition and subtraction. After you do multiplication division, we add and subtract. So we can first add if that comes first in the sequence, or subtract if that comes first in the sequence, and then add. Don't forget that. Finally, on to solving for y. Super exciting stuff. First, I have a sequence of rules that we need to follow. So first ask yourself, are there parentheses? If there are not, move on. If yes, solve whatever is inside the parentheses, or use the distributive property. 2, are there any fractions? If there are not any fractions, move on to 3. If there are fractions, multiply your entire equation by the denominators so that you'll be able to get whole numbers and have the equation just be a whole lot simpler. Number 3, are there any like terms on the same side of the equal sign? If there are not, move on to number 4. If there are, combine these like terms. Number 4, is the variable on both sides of the equal sign? If there aren't, move on to 5. If there are, subtract the smallest variable from both sides so that you don't get a negative sign. Is anything being added or subtracted to the variable for 5? If there isn't, move on to 6. If there is, move it to the other side by the inverse operation. The inverse operation is the operation that reverses the effect of another operation. Example being adding and subtracting. They're opposites. Thus, to move a plus 4 to the other side of the equal sign, subtract 4 from both sides. And number 6 is anything being multiplied or divided on the variable. If there is not, move on. Yes, move it to the other side by the inverse operation. And after all of this is done, you have your solution. Solution acquired. Okay, so finally, on to our last slide, we have 2 examples. We need to solve for x with -3 times 2 plus x plus 5x equaling 156. Second example is -4 times y minus 3 equals 6 times y plus 156. Okay, so let's do this work. And we can just pretty much follow these steps here. So we're first going to want to distribute through the parentheses, because PEMDAS, parentheses first. So let's distribute our parentheses. So -3 times 2, so we're going to distribute this right here. So -3 times 2 is -6. -3 times x is equal to -3x. And then plus 5x equals 156. Now we're going to combine our like terms, which are right here. So we're first going to have -6. And what is 5 minus 3? 2. So we're going to have 5x minus 3x, which is going to equal plus 2x, equals 156. Now we're going to move our adding or subtracting to the other side. So of the equation, we want to get x by itself. So let's go ahead and add 6 to both sides. And that's going to equal 2x equals 162. Now we need to perform the inverse operation on our 2 to get x by itself. So we're going to divide by 2 on both sides. And then our solution will be 81. Our last step, being write your answers as a sentence, will focus more on when we have word problems. But for right now, we'll just deal with this answer right here. Okay, now on to our second example. We're going to distribute through the parentheses first. So we're going to have negative 4 distributed to the y, and distributed to the negative 3. So negative 4 times y is negative 4y. Negative 4 times negative 3 is positive 12. And that equals 6y plus 156. So now that we've distributed through the parentheses, we now want to combine our like terms. So let's go ahead and rewrite our equation. And we're going to want to add 4y to both sides because we want to do our smallest integer. So plus 4y and plus 4y. That equals 12 equals 10y plus 156. And then we want to perform our inverse operation on our adding and subtracting. So we're going to subtract 156 from both sides. So then that will give us 144 equals 10y. And then we want to perform the inverse operation in order to get x by itself. Or, I'm sorry, get y by itself. So let's divide both sides by 10. And so then our y equals 14.4, or as a fraction, 72 over 5. And this is our solution. Okay, well, that's all, folks. So please remember to take your notes. I'll be checking those in class, and I'll see y'all there.